Now, ladies and gentlemen, the very first Counter-Strike 2 Major is just around the corner, with a little over 2 months to go and 71 days to be specific. CS2 has officially now been out for over 10 months, dating back to the limited test until the present day. That being said, throughout this last 10-month process, and that being a brand new Counter-Strike game, it's had some major issues, no pun intended there. Some are worse and more frequent than the rest. Simple things such as performance and game stability, and then there's the dark side of things, where you have the sub-tick problems, constant bugs where something random such as Peeker's Advantage is worse 1 week than the rest. Now the golden question, and for those wondering, this is what today's video is based on. With CS2's very first major just a little over 2 months away, is the game esports ready? I'm going to give my thoughts, take a look at some pros alongside a bunch more. Today's video sponsor is SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a buying and trading marketplace where you can trade off your old skins for something new. All you do is log in with Steam, then you trade the skins you no longer want to pick up the new skins you want to obtain. Any remaining cash from trading goes to your balance that can be used in any future trade. By using my code MANDO, you can get up to a free $5, and if you choose to deposit alongside using my code, you get a total of a 35% deposit bonus. With SkinsMonkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, it'll be the top of the link in the description below. Firstly, for today's video, let's go in depth of what it means to make Counter-Strike 2 esports ready, and why it matters not just for the professionals, but for us, the majority everyday players. Well, making any game an esports title is kind of difficult. From the last decade of history of esports games, and ones that have failed to try and be something they're not, in my opinion, there's 5 basic needs to make the game work in order for people to stay and make the game successful. And for those who are wondering, this is not just for esports, meaning pros, but also everyday players. Now with our 5 basic points, we're going to start off at number 1. Now number 1 is good performance / optimization. You don't need any crazy setup, you don't need a 4090 in order to run the game, and if you look back to CSGO, this was the best and prime example of making an esports game available to everyone no matter what kind of budget you're on for a computer. The game could literally run on a toaster. Now Counter-Strike 2 on the other hand, we'll get to that later on, it doesn't really do that, which has detoured a lot of people away from playing the game. Number 2 is good maps and foundation, which CS2 has. Counter-Strike 2 is based off CSGO. It's practically CSGO with just better graphics. It has all the maps, it has all the fundamentals and foundation to make a game great. It just needs to change a few things. Optimize them, make them better with performance, and add something new every once in a while, which CS2 currently has. Now number 3 is in order to make an esports game successful, having limited bugs or major issues should be on the top of the priority list. And as we can see from this past just couple of months alone, not the whole 9 months this game has been out and it's been announced, just the past 2 months we've had more bugs than maybe in the last 3 or 4 years of CSGO combined, and also a lot more game breaking, if that's what you want to say. Yes, it is the beginning, we're going through the growing pains, but we at some point have to just get through this overall. We have to move on from here, and once we will, this game's going to be amazing. Now number 4, this is more for the casual side. A good base of content but a new spin on things, or a map pool change. That's good every once in a while and it keeps the fans and pros entertained. I'm not saying we need a brand new map pool change every month or even every year, but adding a couple maps to the casual pool or the premier or competitive pool every once in a while wouldn't be the worst idea. It just keeps people in a loop, keep wanting to come back, try something new, get good at something, or something old gets taken out and something new gets added. And this has also been one of the things that Counter-Strike 2 has struggled with, that is new content. And then number 5 is a good anti-cheat. I don't really think an anti-cheat needs much of an explanation, but as of right now, it's a big reason so many players have turned away, and so many, if not the majority of the player base, is complaining about it. Never in CS history in my time playing Counter-Strike since 2014 to 15 have I ever seen anyone in a community complain as much as right now about cheaters. Now an anti-cheat doesn't just matter for the professional players, but most importantly the casuals. The pros don't have to worry too much about this, especially on LAN, but even then, going back to 2014 to 2016, there were some sus areas, or sus players. Most importantly, I think we need to be able to play a CS game without having to doubt if someone on the other team, or on our team, is legit or not. That should be one of the last things on our mind. Yes, I believe it's probably a lot more complicated than we all think, that being to add an anti-cheat and making one yourself. But I believe right now, Valve is actively working on this, as we can see from the most recent ban waves, but also data mines for a new anti-cheat based off AI, where the last 10 years of Overwatch was essentially data to feed an AI, or AI in general, to make an anti-cheat. They can ban players, do Overwatch based off that. So with my list concluded, those are just some of the basic fundamentals in order to make a game, that being an esports game, successful. Now Counter-Strike 2 currently, love or hate the game, only maybe has 1.5 of those things on that list of 5 things, and for those who are also wondering, those are just 5 things that I randomly came up with in order to make a good franchise or esport game. CS2 is currently struggling the most with content, even though for yes, those keyboard warriors getting ready, CS2 is a brand new game for which a lot of people it is new content and it is for everybody. That's at least not what I mean. At some point we have to get something new. If it's something small such as a case or a new map, even just for the casual pool, not the pro scene. And as of today, you watching this video, we haven't gotten anything since February, unless you count the Anubis package, which I mean at that point, if you're defending it, well, good for you. Now all and everything content aside, bugs and optimization, at least in my opinion from what I've played this this last few months, is where this game is currently struggling the most. Now, game stability, especially when it comes to crashes, this happens once a game, with me being in it. If it's not me, it's someone else in the lobby, even on my team or the enemy team. Unsure of why it happens, it's normally at the beginning or the end of a round, and then also you have the FPS problems. FPS switches almost every other update, and it's not in a good way. One week we have minus 50 FPS, 4 weeks later when they end up adding a new update, they fix it by adding 100 plus FPS, and then the week after we get the next one, we lose 20. It's just an ongoing cycle, and it's been like this since the launch of CS2. Yes, it has gotten better, but there's no real middle ground here. And very quickly, I have to mention the game ban problem, where millions of casual players just got randomly game banned. Yes, it later on got revoked, but they still had problems to deal with even after they were unbanned. They couldn't play Premier without a really bad or low trust factor because they were just banned and then unbanned. This doesn't affect the pro scene by any means, but it does affect the casual side, and could affect the player numbers, but also the viewer count for the major. Valve could drive players to the point where they don't even want to play the game, let alone watch a match for the professionals. And one of the last things I want to discuss is in-game bugs, specifically Peeker's Advantage. This is what the majority, aside from performance and optimization, of the CS player base has complained and will complain about probably until the end of time until it gets fixed. This is mostly due to connection as well. When you're playing on LAN, it's not really going to matter too much. Now, talking about Peeker's Advantage makes me want to check out a recent post from ThorCS, a CS2 data miner, which I suggest you go check out. Links to him will be down in the description down below. He had a really detailed post from just a few days ago where he got 29 responses from 29 professional players for CS2 asking what the biggest problems and things they'd like to see improve before the RMRs, or the major RMRs to be exact. And as I can slowly scroll through here, the biggest thing and the one thing that sticks out to me is, well, Peeker's Advantage. There's a couple things like Rop saying probably the player boost bug. You have a few people saying CL Bob and playing on the left-hand side, which, yes, if I was a professional and you could no longer play on the left-hand side, yet it's so simple to add to the game, at least that we think, I would be going crazy, and I really do feel for a lot of people who did play on the left-hand side, because I did at times too. Best of ones should probably be max round 16, which this I agree with. Playing with 16 rounds is something I miss, but also the 13 system is refreshing, yet it's very different from that 16, even though it's just 3 rounds. Having 13 rounds instead of 16 makes people play a lot differently. They force when they didn't before, they save when they didn't before, and people just play a lot more ballsy, especially because the game can end a lot sooner if you're not careful. With all this being said, this may seem like a lot of information in today's video, but also it's really not that much. What it comes down to is just Peeker's Advantage. And maybe later down the line, after the majors concluded, Valve can add some small content to hold over that crowd of Counter-Strike. So the big question, as the title says, will CS2 be esports ready by the major? According to the majority of the CS player base and also professionals, Valve really just needs to fix Peeker's Advantage, and most things and problems should be settled. But then again, Peeker's Advantage is mainly just for online. On LAN, all those people and all those professionals are going to have a different experience on LAN than they did online. Now, no kidding, they would in CSGO as well, but in CS2, it really does matter here. I don't have too much more time to explain it, but there's some small things here and there as well when it comes to connection with CS2. Going back to Thor's post, there was a professional stating another big problem, which is one I've had and a lot of other people have complained about as well. The biggest problem in CS2 is ping. If you have 45 ping and the enemy has 30, you feel the difference. On CSGO, you could easily play on 50 to 60 ping, and I completely agree. There was moments and times where I was playing on 70 to 80 ping inside CSGO. You could feel it, but it was not nowhere as near bad as CS2 70 to 80 ping. In CS2, if you have more than 50 ping, you can really feel it. Either if that's by spraying or just moving around, your game is laggy. I'm not sure if Valve can do something with that, but obviously people's internet connections haven't changed because, well, they probably have the same one, and with that many people complaining about it, it's probably a real problem. So I know this video was all over the place, as was my mind, but this was a video I wanted to, but also needed to get out. At the end of the day, I do believe Counter-Strike 2, believe it or not, is going to be esports ready by the time the major rolls around in March. We could have an update every week until then, which on top of that, I'm very optimistic about Counter-Strike 2. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or your thoughts down below about this entire situation, leave a comment. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.